1. Here's our cast. EM is entitled Mother-in-Law. BF is her son, my boyfriend. And I'll give you 3 guesses who me is. This took place almost 2 years ago. I had been best friends with her son since high school, and involved with the entire family for about 12 years at this point. You could say I was almost an adopted family member. I started dating EM's son, my best friend at this point, shortly after we started working together. I was laid off without much notice and thrown in sudden financial devastation. That's when she offered to rent one of the 4 bedrooms out to her son, BF, and I, until we could find a place of our own together. We all know the rental crisis makes finding a place a long, drawn-out process. Move-in day. We all agreed to rent the room for $400 and also help split half the bills and buy our own food. It was a reasonable amount to help us save for the first month's rent and expenses. She was elated that I was dating her son, since I've been a friend of the family for years. She was what I thought to be a nice Christian lady. I'm an atheist, but hey, I don't shit on other people's religion, this is all relevant to the story. Turns out she could only keep up the facade so long. Every month, EM upped the rent by $200 to $400. Even though she's been basically squatting in her aging father's second house rent-free for the better part of 4 decades. Not to mention EM's sister has been squatting in her father's basement suite for about 8 years and counting. And we weren't really home a lot to run up much additional expenses. BF worked full-time and I got a new job right away. And much to the harsh reputation of the culinary industry, I was working 6, sometimes 7 days a week due to gross understaffing. Here's where it gets hairy. EM demanded as part of helping us out that BF and I were to attend Vespers, Russian Orthodox, twice a week, and attend a 3-hour-long church service on Sundays. That I influenced BF, secretly atheist, to attend. No dice, EM. Not gonna miss work or spend my very little time off for this shit. Sometimes I lied and said I worked a split shift just to dodge that shit. One Saturday morning, she woke me up at the ungodly hour of 6 a.m. to demand that I help her with one of her house cleaning gigs, with no pay. Just 4 hours before I am due to go to my actual paying job. I need you to come with me and help me get this cleaning job done. It will only take an hour tops with both of us working. I closed last night and I have to be at work in 4 hours. I need all the sleep I can get. Don't you take that tone with me. I helped you out. The least you can do is return the favor. Sure, if I didn't work as much as I do, I would have gladly helped you out. I need rest. We'll talk about the rent later. EM, BF, and I went in her car to do some grocery shopping that night after we got home from work. She had been needling me for a few days now while BF wasn't home, provoking my anxiety disorder, and she finally told me that I don't deserve to marry her son. I undid my seatbelt, got out of the car, and started walking home to avoid saying some real bad shit. That had always been my style: walk away, cool down, then approach the topic. BF followed suit. Home was only a 15-minute walk away. We went downstairs without a word. She called me upstairs, EM sitting there shaking like an angered, soaked chihuahua. She then threatened that if I don't help her as she demanded and didn't get my panic attacks under control— honestly, they aren't that visible. I just didn't apologize for the car incident fast enough. Didn't convert, didn't pay increasingly more as she demanded, that she'd throw me out onto the streets. The last thing she screamed at me before dismissing me to sleep downstairs was, "When you enter this house, you acknowledge me. I am the ruler of this household. What I say goes absolutely." Then in the most sing-song voice, "Okay, well, I've said what I needed to say. With that, good night." And she smiles. At that point, it was a month before BF and I could move into our own place, so I did my best to avoid her at all costs. I was now paying upwards of $1,400 per month for a room in a house where she kept the thermostat at a balmy 12 degrees Celsius at all times during the winter. She then started demanding that I contribute my entire checks towards the household, since a good Christian household pools their money and takes care of their elders. No fucking dice, ma. BF and I managed to build a good savings, and ended up getting the call to move into our new apartment 2 weeks early, due to the previous tenant pulling a midnight move. Finally, some reprieve from this nightmare. Fast forward to today. EM and her equally entitled sister are waiting for their father, suffering dementia and recently lost his wife, to drop. Because there's a good sum of money and a couple of properties in the will. They're vulturing over the will of a not yet deceased family member. 2. I am a dog walker, among other things, and 2 years ago I used to walk a Sarloos wolf dog. This breed is known to scare easily, and this dog in particular had an owner that was doing a lot of stuff wrong when training him. This resulted in the dog being scared shitless about everything. Other dogs at the end of the street? Let's run in the opposite direction. People across the riverbank? Holy shit, let's get out of here. Plastic bag on a tree branch moving in the wind? Nope, let's go home. Now that you have an idea of just how scared this dog was, you might be able to imagine how difficult it was to walk him and keep him calm. I had to constantly be aware of everything going on around us and be mindful of things that might happen. What made this even more difficult was the fact that this dog looks awesome and cute at the same time. He looks very friendly to the untrained eye. People who don't own dogs generally don't pay attention to whether or not a dog has its tail between its legs, so quite a lot of people wanted to pet him. For the sake of this story, he's just gonna be called Wolf. EM entitled mother, EK entitled kid. So one day I was walking Wolf and we had to cross a narrow bridge to get to the trail where he feels comfortable. I saw a mother and son, about 7, about to cross the bridge in my direction, so I stepped to the side with Wolf to make sure that I wouldn't force him to be closer to other humans than he wanted to be. When halfway across the bridge, EK started pointing at something in the water, and EM acted all amazed. The only way a parent can when a child points out the obvious. They stood there for several minutes and I decided to just try my luck with Wolf, not wanting to wait any more as he was beginning to get antsy. I began crossing the bridge, and as I was getting close to EK, the shitshow began.
Mommy, look at the cute doggy. I wanna pet her. I wanna! Go pet the cute doggy then, sweetie. I'm sure the owner won't mind.
Actually, I would mind. He's terrified of other humans, so please don't come too close to him.
You obviously don't know what you're talking about. It's a girl and she looks so happy.
Ignoring the girl comment, what makes you think that? His tail is between his legs, and he's quite literally hiding behind me. During this conversation, EK has been sneaking up on Wolf, and Wolf has moved to be right behind my legs, and looks pretty damn scared.
EK, just pet her already so we can go.
EK runs the last few meters up to me and Wolf, which I did not expect. Yes, I should have, but I didn't. As sticks his hand out towards Wolf, he recoils in fear and tries to struggle out of his harness, which thankfully stays on. At this point, I'm pushing the kid away and trying to lead Wolf around him and his mother so we can get on with our walk, and hopefully calm Wolf down. But EM is not having it. She sticks her hand out, preventing me from moving further along the bridge.
What are you doing? Are you running away from my child so he can't pet your dog? How selfish are you? You should let others pet her too.
Wolf is now panting, a sign of stress, and 100 other things, but stress was most likely in this scenario.
Mommy, look at the teeth!
Pointing at Wolf.
They're so big!
EM withdraws her arm, finally letting me pass through.
Jesus, don't let that vicious dog near children! What the hell are you thinking?
I'm finally speed walking away from them, and I yell back, I've been trying to tell you the whole time not to come near him. If he bit you, which he's too afraid for, it would be entirely your fault. EM continued to rant to EK, but I was too far away at this point to really make out what she was saying. I knew Wolf would not bite her or the kid. The owner had been assured of this fact by several dog trainers. He has even been cornered by a scary person and didn't bite. All he did was pee on the floor. 3. This happened to me approximately 8 years ago when I was in high school. I no longer work retail and I'm currently in graduate school, but this story stuck around with me. Anyways, background info. I worked at a hiking and outdoors themed retail store that specialized in boots and footwear, but also sold other apparel and accessories. We did not receive a commission, but our job emphasized the importance of sales numbers. If you helped a customer, you rang them up and the total sales would be added to your monthly sales numbers. There never was really any reward, only punishment for doing badly, since our raises couldn't exceed 20 cents per hour, and this would happen once or twice a year. That said, I was still the #1 salesperson in our store and would always help customers get what they needed as soon as possible. I started helping this lady, And your typical Karen, the entitled mom, EM, walks up to me with 3 little kids. One of the 3 kids is looking at all the shoes out on display and messing up their display. We would have to fix each shoe in the aisle, so this already hurt a little. While the other 2 were trying on shoes. EM said that we didn't have the shoes she bought before, and showed me a pair of boots that were our brand but were not sold at our store. I told her, okay, did you buy these from another store? These boots were sold at other companies that were outdoor stores which carried our products exclusively, and we did not carry this in our stores. She said, no, I bought them here about 5 months ago, and they don't fit anymore. I want new ones. I knew this was a lie because, again, these boots were never sold at our own stores. I ignored this and said, well, ma'am, it seems you've worn these quite a lot. There was mud caked onto the leather and the rubber was visibly worn down. I can't return these for you because they're worn, but I can help you once I finish helping this other customer. It'll only be a minute. EM says nothing and goes back to her kids as they continue to mess up every shoe on display. I help the other customer and ring her up within the next 3 minutes or so. I return to EM and she's very angry that I took so long. You said you would only be a minute. I should tell your manager that you've been slacking off. I reply, I'm sorry, ma'am. There are just some things that I can't control. I'd still be happy to help you find what you need. She says, you better. About 45 minutes pass, which is far too long to be stuck on one customer, but I let it slide because she picked out about $1,300 in boots and apparel. I move the mountain of boxes to the register for her and start ringing her up. It's at this moment that her kid starts walking out of the store with 4 boxes of shoes. I run after him and say he can't do that. The kid's young, so I yell at him to stop and he does. I then just gently guided him back into the store. This is when EM explodes. Don't touch my baby! I want to talk to your manager. I roll my eyes a bit and oblige her. I tell my manager what's been going on and he laughs. He comes out and apologizes to her on the store's behalf, and says I'll be very strictly punished for my actions. That's when EM says, I want all of this to be free or else I'll sue you, your employee, and the company for daring to touch my darling angel. My manager says, ma'am, this is $1,300 in product and your son tried to walk off with $320 of it. I understand that he's young, so we haven't called security. But surely you can understand that I can't just give you $1,300. I can. No, I don't understand. Why can't you just give me this for free? I'm going to sue you if you don't, but I'll tell you what. Why don't you dock the cost from your employee's paycheck to cover the expenses? It's a lot cheaper than going to court and losing. I'm only giving you this offer once, and I'm only doing it to save me the time and effort of going to court. I appreciate the offer, but I have no authority to dock his pay for the company's legal battle. If I did, I'd still say no because your son stole from the store. And if I were to steal from my employees, I'd be no better than you. Now I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store and never come back, as we will be banning you and your children. EM throws a tantrum that I didn't care enough to remember and walked out, but not after whispering to her kids before they grabbed some of the boxes and ran. We called security and they found her with the boxes in the parking lot. EM forgot her purse at the register. My manager bought me lunch the next day to thank me for handling the situation as well as I did. 4. So about 4 days ago, I decided to order a custom-built Clearview case controller with orange LEDs to set up on display with an Xbox 360 controller with the same stuff, but green LEDs. The thing cost about $200 American. Since it's got slightly stronger and more reliable response times, I should have gotten this stuff on my normal controller, damn it. So today after work, I went to my local Best Buy to pick up my controller. As I'm signing the papers, I noticed EM, ET1, and ET2 staring at me. I think nothing of it, since the controller was in a Clearview case and they were probably admiring it. So after I'm done, I walk out, put the stuff in the passenger side of my car, and I'm about to get in the driver's side when they come up to me. ET1 was wearing everything Fortnite. Seriously. Fortnite hat, sweatpants, shirt, sweater, shoes, hell, even a few Fortnite tattoos. And most likely Fortnite underwear as well. ET2 was wearing a Fortnite shirt and sweatpants and a Call of Duty sweater. Also some black and orange shoes. And so the fun begins.
It's a very nice controller you got there.
Thanks, just bought it for $200.
I'll pay you $30.
Excuse me?
I said I'll pay you $30 for the controller.
Sorry, ma'am, it's not for sale. I just bought it. Even if I were to sell it, it would be for around $140.
How about 40?
Again, not for sale.
Come on. You were gonna put it on display anyways.
How the hell did she know that?
My angels deserve it more than you, and they will actually use it.
In my head, fuck. So you're saying that everything that's on display should be used instead, even stuff from the Titanic?
Dude, just give the controller, you noob, spelled with zeros.
Yeah, Fennec the Furry were better at Fortnite than you are.
I was wearing a shirt with my son's name on it. I guess they saw my Reddit posts. I thought this immediately. Okay, mate. Don't go edgelord on me in public. Plus, I thought you Fortniters were only supposed to say noob and stuff like that over your overglossed $300 HyperX headset mics.
Alright, Mr. Crumpus and T. You don't get to talk to me, my brother, or my mom like that.
Me and British people being made fun of does tick me off quite a bit. Even though I'm not even British. I just like using the word mate. Now for the good parts. Alright, you wanna go?
1v1 us, bro.
Even though it was like a 1v2 kind of thing.
Go get 'em, boys.
I guess she was a fan of movies that had that line. So I throw my phone into the car and we start battling it out. I have pretty good reflexes, so I was set. ET1 comes to me and tries to punch me in the face. I lunge my head to the side in order to avoid it, and immediately followed the dodge with a punch to the chest. So ET2 comes in while his brother is charging at me. I grab his outstretched arm and lunge him around me into his brother. Then I noticed EM1 reaching into my car, so I slammed the door shut on her arm. She lunges it back, screeching like a banshee, and I shut the door completely. ET1 and 2 have recovered and are coming at me from two directions. I punch ET2 in the eye while simultaneously tripping ET1. I slammed my foot into ET1's head and all of a sudden, EM comes in and punches me in the glasses. $200 glasses! So they fell off me, one of the lenses cracked, and she started smashing it. But being the gamer that I am, saw this as a distraction, and sure enough, both ETs were lunging at me again. But instead of going for me, they both, no lie, proceeded to rip the fucking fender off of my car. I didn't bolt the thing on fully, in order to make getting it off and on easier for modding, and started bashing at the thing. So I instantly proceeded to quickly punch the EM's lights out, and when I got to them, a staff member from the Best Buy saw them rip the fender, we were close to the entrance, and came in and started battling them with me, so we managed to get them restrained. Someone else in the parking lot had bought rope for the kids' treehouse or something, at a store next to the Best Buy, and we tied them up, classic villain style. The staff member told me he had already called the cops. Sure enough, a minute later, like 2 police cars pulled up. I told them the story, so did the staff member, and after the security footage was checked, I was let off the hook. All I know is I did in fact press charges. If I remember correctly, the charges were for assault, destruction of property, and attempt of theft. So all in all, they had to pay $200 for the glasses and $700 for the fender. I forget what the other fines were, but I think the total was around $1,000 to $1,100. After this, I was allowed to get a few non-expensive items for free at Best Buy, and me and the staff member kept in touch. For those wondering, my car is a 1970 Chevy Camaro, and also the fender, thank God, only had some scrapes and dents, which I can live with. Seriously. Why the heck would you rip the fender off a car just for a controller? This was the craziest thing that has ever happened to me. Anyways, I should have new glasses by tomorrow. See you, mates. 5. A bit of backstory. So I started mowing lawns just the other day. My mom and I don't have a lawnmower, so we use my grandparents'. Since the first 2 lawns I mowed were family, I didn't charge them. So when I'm done with our lawn, this lady walks up to me and the story begins. Cast, EM equals Karen, T-Teen. Not sure if he's entitled, I never heard him talk. Me, yours truly, P.O. Police Officer M. Mom. She only shows up in the end. I just finished mowing our lawn. I'm drenched in sweat. It was 96 and felt like 103. I walked over to the steps by the door and grabbed my bottle of water. I see this lady walking over to me, full Karen look. and the conversation went like this.
Hey, I noticed you were mowing this lawn, and I was wondering if you could do my yard.
Sure, I'll do it for $15, $20 if you want me to weed whack as well. Sometimes I feel like it's a bit high, but since my community is mostly filled with older people, they're more than happy to pay that amount.
Actually, I was hoping you'd do it for free.
I looked at her a bit confused. Sorry, I only do it for free for my family.
Well, she doesn't look like your family.
She was talking about my mom, as I don't really look like either of my parents anymore. Actually, she is. You can ask her yourself if you'd like to. But I'm still doing it for $15. If you want me to weed whack, that'll be $20.
I'm not gonna pay some lazy-ass teenager to do my lawn. You will do it for free.
Miss, there's no need to shout. I'm just trying to make some money by doing hard work. If you're not gonna pay me, then I'm not gonna do your yard.
You will do my lawn, and you will do it for free. I'm a single mother, and I'm not gonna pay you anything. T, get out of here right now!
I could hear T sighing as he walks out the door. I could tell he had been through this before. EM yanks the lawnmower away from me and tells T to start it up. Miss, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That lawnmower belongs to my grandparents, not me.
I don't care whose it is. It is mine now.
T was obviously struggling to get the mower started. I don't think he ever used one before. After about 10 tries, he gives up and starts pushing the mower towards me.
T, what are you doing? You will not hand this fucker that lawnmower.
She takes the lawnmower away from him, still yelling. While she was more focused on him, I took the mower and went to lock it back up in the shed.
What are you doing with my lawnmower? You give it back this instant.
What are you going to do, call the cops? Apparently that gave her an idea. I locked the shed up, walked inside and told my mom what happened. Surprisingly, she admitted to hearing what happened outside. Turns out she opened the window. The police arrived 10 minutes later, knocking on our door. Good afternoon, officer. How may I help you? Sorry to disturb you, sir, but I got a call saying that you stole a lawnmower from a neighbor. Is this true? It was EM with the biggest grin ever. I explained to the officer that the lawnmower was my grandparents', and I offered to show it to him in the shed. My grandfather put his last name on the mower, not sure why, but it came in handy here. I told him that the mower has my grandfather's last name on it, and EM tried calling BS. Now my grandfather gets added to the cast. I called my grandfather and put him on speaker. Hey, Grandpa, can you confirm that you and Grandma lent me your mower? Yes? Why, is something wrong? Yes, sir, I got a call from one of OP's neighbors claiming that your grandson stole a red and black lawnmower. I lent my grandson the lawnmower. He's not the type of person who would steal anything. Again, the EM tried calling BS, yelling at my grandfather. So what does he do? He told me to call him later and hung up. The police officer turned to EM and said, Ma'am, you are under arrest for disturbing the peace, attempted theft, and false accusations. You have the right to remain silent. She goes ballistic, trying to say I beat up her son and how I was lying, blah, blah, blah. The police officer puts her in the back of his squad car and says he's sorry for what I had to go through. Mom says I'm glad it's finally over with. Me too. We went inside, and I told her that this all started from EM wanting me to work for free instead. We both laughed, and I don't plan on meeting EM from now on. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to The Impractical Proudness of Parents, number 8. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Okay, that's all the recording done. I can become Wiggly Toe Freezer in a few hours once I get my editing and everything else done. Excellent. Just the usual plans for me this weekend. Well, it'll be Sunday when you guys get this. Hopefully we're enjoying a bit of sun, but we shall see. I do want to pop out and do a few things. I've been looking into getting a Kinect to go with the new PC setup. I'll have to look to see if I can still get the adapter for it though. You get the Kinect, which is actually really cheap to buy, but the adapter I'm not sure, the adapter costs more than the actual Kinect. Then it's just a bit of software you download and it should work with, give you a degree of full body tracking. It's not 100%, but it's, it's a cheap solution, cheapish solution, compared to spending hundreds of pounds on, you'd need at least three additional trackers to get full body tracking. It just doesn't seem worth it. Fun though would be for some games to have full body tracking. It's not really necessary for any of them, so it's just a bonus really. I'm of course talking about VR when I say this. Well, we'll see how it works out. Okay, and with that I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.